Okay. Yesterday, you've seen sending out the emails from Apex, and whereas we have seen a text emails, HTML emails, and then email with the text attachments or a visual force page as a PDF attachment we have seen, and sending an email using an email template where we have stuck with some email limit exception. So today we'll complete that, and we have some IDs also mentioned over there, and there is slight difference on a mass email messaging compared to single email message that will also we see today. Okay. Sending email from Apex using email template. This one we will see first. Hope you guys see my screen.
Yes.
Email template. On email. On email. So here I'm going to show you a trick. So something you want to refer after some time. You want to refer some codes and you are not aware about what is the naming that we use. If you know the jargons, you can use this. You can go to the edit column and do a search files. And wherever you want to see an email, you can search those and you will get the classes that are using that email one. And the second option is, you know, the file name will be somewhere, it will be having an email. Then what we can do is, so we have a open resource. Open will give you the all list. So if you want to scroll down one by one, you can go with that. And you have a different sections with class, triggers, pages, page components, and all. You don't want that, and you want to open resource where you will be having everything in it. So it could be any component. So here what we can do is you can use a star character so that it will give you all the names which are containing the email. It could be at the starting, or it could be at the middle, or it could be at the end. It doesn't matter. So wherever you give a star, so it could be any number of characters before and after. It could be any number of characters. If anywhere, if you contain email, it will return all the resources that are having an email. So you can check like this. So these are the tips. Okay. Now moving on to this one, the last one, where sending an email using an email template. So hardly what we are trying to do here. So we're not going to set any two addresses here. It's not mandatory, so you can do it or not do it. So main theme was you're trying to get an email template. So I was giving a developer name and getting the template ID. And then once I have this template and I have a contact, and so here either I can use a user or a lead or a contact IDs. Okay, now I would like to give a contact ID over here. And then what else I want to do? Contact ID have. So I'm not going to set this as activity, and that's all I'm going to send the mail. So for this contact, I would like to check whether I have the right information or not. Yes, I have right information, and then let me check whether I have an email here available or not. If the email is populated, then only it will allow me to send the email. Okay, everything is good. And so, if you remember what I was explaining about a target object ID, this target object ID is used when you're using a template ID, and you can um, only mention the IDs of a user, lead, and a contact. Only these three object IDs only be allowed in a target object ID. And when you're using a single email messaging, you can able to set only one ID that you can set over here. Okay, done. And let's try to send out an email. So don't have anything. So I'll put a null on emails. Okay, highlight it. Okay, let me check the email. I have an email. Now using the template, I got the email. Okay, actually I have not given any email ID, but I have a email ID sent to this contact. Okay, now I have a different approach. So what I'm trying to do was I want to save this email as an activity. Save email as an activity on record. So I want to do that. How I can do that? Send email and add email as activity. Okay, so here what we're going to do in this case. So initially, so I'm not going to do anything like this. So I have an email template. Account is equal to from account Michael Pro network. So I have an account now. So what I will do is I will set the what ID. So what ID which helps us to which record we are trying to add the to which record we're trying to add a merge fields. This target object ID I also used for a merge fields, but if we have something on these three objects only, we can use the target object ID. Whereas what ID for all remaining objects, we can use a what ID if they're having any merge fields. And on top of it, we can save a this email as an activity as well when we having when we having a email to be added as an attachment. Okay, I'm setting what ID as this account ID and then setting this as an activity and then sending out an email. But I have not set any to address. So I'm going to set this to why because I don't have a target ID. So I should have a to address to set the to address. So if I have a target ID, I don't need to set a to address. It will directly send to the contact if it's having a valid email field. Okay, let's send an email and see if that is storing it as an activity or not. Outbound emails. Required field is missing address and email ID. Recipient. So we have add to address or not. Uh, we have recipient, right? Mm, 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 mm. Okay, target object ID is missing. Okay. Um, I think it will not allow us to save it. It's not saved. Okay, that is done. Let me see. My bad. I'm not setting any subject changes. Sorry. Um, anyway, we can check here whether we have a activity created or not to this one. So where we have added activity, so you can see here we see the activity stored, and we have one more called on account. I guess it will store on account also. We have activity ID stored. Um, and we no need to do this one. Tutors also not required. I'll make a change to the subject. Okay, anyway, this is coming from a template ID, not from here. So again, what we can do is after setting a template also, if we want to change anything, also we can do a change. But before doing that, I want to do some merge fields onto the email template, and I want to show it to you how merge fields will be aligned. So I have an email over here. So this how the email saving as an activity to this record, and now you can see there are like two recipients as patch one aseptic and two contacts. And then going back and yeah, I'm going to email template and I will add some merge fields to it, and let's see how it's going to work. Let's example. Okay, and here I will going to edit the HTML version, and then here the hi Sam I'm going to use. So instead of Sam, I'm going to use a contact field of a name field, whatever there in the name field. I would like to use that here. Hi, how are you? And so some text, not some HTML content. Please check how it works on your account. On your account. So I will give account name over here. On your account. It's from industry, industry was like this. This I'm going to save and now edit test version, copy text from HTML version. Okay, so I have everything here and to save. Then template is ready now. Let's so my email template is having some merge fields over here like account contact name, account name, and account industry. Let's try out whether the merge fields are working or not. I'm trying to send an email. If I check this one, anonymous window, I create highlighter. Okay, so we have this merge field came in and Wipro came in and construction came in. Okay, this is how it will work. Now, moving on to any questions before we are continuing? We notice this is not mandatory to have it. So do we have any questions before we're moving on?
Yeah, Bala.
Yeah.
Just explain completely in a short way.
Okay. Okay, so we are yesterday we're trying to send a email using an email template where we ran into a email limit exception for the developer org as a 10 emails only we can send custom emails. So again we are trying to do the same. One is using a template ID and set target object ID so that this is actually what it does was you can give either user lead and contact IDs. So, and it should be having a valid email IDs filled in, then only we can use this as a target object ID. And while using a target object ID, we no need to mention any of these two CC and BCC addresses, but even you can use, that's not a problem. But without using these two addresses, we can use directly as a target object IDs also we can use. And this will be used to again to fulfill the merge fields that are using in a template ID. And this target object IDs will work only when we're using a template ID. And if you're not using a template ID, you cannot use a target object IDs. And then this one we discussed that when we make it as a true, it will save as an activity on this target object ID and what ID. So what is a what ID? What ID is a other than any record, other than this user lead and contact. If you want to fulfill the merge fields that are coming from your email template, then we'll set this what ID, and the set as activity will be working on both target object ID and what ID. When you set this as true, this will be saved as an activity on the both the records. And we have seen one example over here. We see this this is on account record. We have saved, we have this email stored as an activity. So we have two emails sent. One is with merge fields, one is without merge fields. So when I have a merge fields, you can see the merge fields of the name and account name and industry are showing up. So why these are bold, why these are not bold? Because I gave a HTML like that. It's nothing like if you have a merge field that will come as a bold. It's not like that. So I made it bold. This two, and not bold, not made them as a bold over here. Okay, and that's all we did so far. Now, this is how we're making it as an activity as a true and setting a target object ID and what ID, and we're not setting any two addresses. Okay, so now we're trying to see what a this is single email message, right? So far, what are all examples we see? All are a single email messages. Whereas the mass email message, this will also exactly same. It will work. The syntax, everything will be exactly same. Only difference was here instead of single email message, we'll be having a mass email messaging, mass email message, and same you will be having over here, and that's it. Other than that, everything will be same. And while you having a target object ID and what ID instead of um, what do we call instead of having a single record, we can have a multiple records are allowed in a mass email messaging. Let's say I want to add a more contacts. So where in single email message, I can add only a single contact ID. Whereas in mass email messaging, I can add a multiple. Let's say I have a thing like this. I have a contacts. So I would say this one. I just want to make sure that I have all email fields filled in there or not. Okay, it's not filled. Let me take and fill some. Okay, so my contacts. So here I was trying to add a multiple contacts to it, and what ID also I would like to add more. So I'd like to check. Okay, good. I have two phenolics. Now, what I'm trying to do was trying to add this two. This time Remember how to get the query as so here I should have a list of contact IDs. So I'm going to give a this is the contact. So contact map set I'm going to use. Mm, so here this one I need to convert this to a mass email message. Mass email message, mass email message, and then add, and then we can add to it. Okay, they're defined as an activity 201. Okay. And mass email. Okay, it could be a multiple name email one dot set target object. These are a single email message. Variable is of mass email message. Right? Okay, this is not ID on it. Format is a string. Well, let me check the documentation quickly and then. Okay, it's going to be IDs, plural word. Target object IDs, what IDs? So it's going to be multiple, so it has to be a list of IDs. Let's see. List of IDs set. Okay, now it is fine now. So only difference is because this is a list, so we have to use the plural keyword. There's only the difference. So let's try out and send an email and say, right. Okay, system exception, invalid ID field, only contract cases, products and opportunity allowed to the what IDs. Okay, so mass email messaging